Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in steaming hot San Diego is my good friend, Dennis Bithoulkas. What's up, brother?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's Westworld night. Very excited. Had a lot of things to take care of this weekend, and glad I did. But I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very grateful to be on YouTube and recapping TV shows because it's fun. And we're 2 away from 2,000 subscribers. So
nice.
Thank you, all of our new subscribers that we've gotten in the last week. I just want to say welcome. Hope we continue to entertain you, or at least, I don't know, do something. Be good background noise. I'm okay with just being good background noise. And tonight we're covering Westworld. And it is the 3rd episode of season 2. And help me out with the title on this one. It was
Virtù e Fortuna, which means virtue and fortune in Latin.
Virtue and fortune. Virtù e Fortuna. Okay, yeah. I got you. There you go. And right off the bat, great episode. Another great episode.
Mm-hmm.
We are so lucky to have so much good TV on right now. And we've got a great season 2 of Legion going on. We got a great season 3 of Expanse, and this is my favorite show. I know Legion is yours. This is mine. And because
don't get me wrong. I like this one too.
Oh, I know. No, that's dude. It's like hey, it's like your kids. Honestly, people don't like to pick between their kids, but some days are better than others. Like one day I'll like Logan, and the other day I like Indy, and that's the way it goes. And we just win with all this great TV. Mm-hmm. And the reason I love Westworld is I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. And it's a big, long Twilight Zone and a well-done one. At any moment, Rod Serling could come out, and I would, for one, believe it and be okay with it. And I have also said the reason I love this show is it had the single greatest pilot I've ever seen. You could have ended it right there as a Twilight Zone. It had the single greatest first season, knocked it out of the park. One of the greatest casts with just, I don't know, and solid storytelling by another Nolan brother. I mean, that's a stupid talented family right there. And also, like I always forget to mention, I cannot forget to mention Lisa Joy. Lisa Joy is equal in writing on this, and she's also a producer, I believe. She's wonderful. And so I know I've left out her name a couple times. And that's very bad of me. So apologies to Lisa Joy, who is awesome. So, and hello, everybody in chat. We'll get to you after our brief recap. This is the first time you're watching our show. We go over the episode, and
we have spoilers. We do spoilers, just so you know. That's what this is all about. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched our show before, we are going to spoil the shit out of this. So leave now, watch the show. Come on back, and we'll be here in form, and then you can actually watch it afterwards. That's why I'm holding up this sign that says spoiler alert.
Yeah, we had 20 unpaid interns on H-1B visas working all night on that sign, by the way.
Yeah, we did.
So hope you really like that. That's the Nerdrotic graphics department. So let's get into it, man, because it starts out, we get to the one we were just talking about our big long pre-production meeting. This show does not screw around. It gets
no.
And there's been all this speculation about all the other parks, and we get what I like to call Eastworld right off the bat.
Yeah, it starts off in India, and the nice thing about this is, you hear music being played on the sitar, and I'm like, that sounds really familiar. And I'm like, and the reason why it sounds very, very familiar, it's on my playlist of a whole bunch of songs, and it's Seven Nation Army by White Stripes that we're hearing on the sitar, which is kind of interesting. And we see a man sitting down talking to a woman, and that man is Kevin McKidd, by the way, for those of you playing at home. And the woman is named Grace. She's actually not named in the episode, but we find out later on his name is Grace. And when he goes to sit down and talk to her, we have one of the hosts come over and mentions that the governor is going, invites him. He goes, "No, I don't. That's okay. Tell the governor I'm busy." And he says, they go to a lot of trouble to make sure that we don't talk to each other. And he's talking about the humans in the park, which I found fairly interesting, that they try and split up the humans in the park if you're not with another human.
That is interesting, but it also kind of makes sense. It does. Mm-hmm. But I think she alluded a little bit to it wasn't. Yeah, they don't want the humans together, but she alludes a little later. At least I got the vibe that there was something about her that they really
don't want him to talk to her about.
Yeah. They really try to get hosts on her, and that's why she does a little test.
Yes, exactly. And so she brings him back and says, you know what? If they're going at it hot in heaven, she goes, we can't go any further until I find out for sure. And so she goes into the next room, and there's all these guns that are sitting there on the table because they're there for safari, of course, or hunting tigers. And he's like, really? She's like, oh, you know what? If you are who you are, all it's going to do is sting you. And he's like, and she, of course, shoots him.
And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, is this pre... I mean, like, we don't know what timelines, right? So is this pre-Dolores Maeve revolution or post? Because he's effing dead if she pulls that trigger. And I'm all, is this how she finds out? And no, he got a little bruise. He got a little paintball bruise.
Got a little paintball bruise, and they go at it. That's what his reward is for getting shot.
She was smoking before sex.
Yeah,
probably afterwards. Yeah. Good for her. Good for her. Go get some, girl. Mm-hmm.
And so we see that she's got a hand-drawn map in her book. This is when they arrive at the camp, the safari camp, and it has these symbols, these hand-drawn symbols in there, which we'll get to later because we see these symbols later on in someone else's map. That's a digital map. I don't know if you saw that.
I did actually screen captured it, so when we get to that later, we can get to that later.
Yeah. And when they arrive at the camp, she says there aren't any hosts at the camp. That's kind of weird. Normally there's other people here, to cook for us and all this kind of stuff. And they see inside the tent that all these hosts are dead. And one of the hosts comes up and he's got a gun in her hand. She's like, no, Gunther, put the gun down. And he goes, oh, that's all right. It doesn't hurt us anyway. And he walks in front, Kevin McKidd, and gets shot. And he's dead. And she luckily gets inside the tent, gets a gun, and shoots Gunter in the head, takes him out. And then makes a run for the jungle.
Poor Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
She runs through the jungle. Sorry, little.
Yeah, she did do a little. Yeah, I know. And a little CCR
right there after the CCR with the CGI Bengal tiger. That was pretty good CGI. Okay, it was pretty good. You can't get a Bengal tiger. It wasn't bad. And Kevin McKidd was in the show just long enough to charge like $20 to $30 for autographs at Comic-Cons from here until the end of time. So
Ganju. I'm sorry, I said Gunther. It was Ganju. I was just
Ganja. Sorry,
Ganju. That's right. It was Ganju.
Yeah, he didn't look like a Gunther.
I don't know why I said Gunther. That too many multiple things in the head there.
That's the name of the pool boy, Dennis.
No, that's not the name of the pool boy.
That's Pablo. Sorry.
You gotta remember where I'm at.
Sorry.
Violent delights have violent ends. Yes, that's what they all say just before they kind of go mad. All the hosts. Violent delights have violent ends. And yes, Ganju, we hardly knew you, Mako. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, she goes off into the jungle there, runs into the tiger. She gets one shot off and then just starts hauling ass. And she gets to the end of the park. And we see that the park is saying, you've reached the end of the park, turn back, turn away. And she crosses over, and we see that she's standing on a cliff overlooking this big body of water. And the tiger, of course, is right behind her. And she gets off one more shot before it lunges at her and presumably knocks her into the water. And, of course, we have the credits start after that. Yes. So we don't know what happened to Grace.
Nope, but it's somebody in a movie or TV show falling over a cliff, and you don't see a dead body, so they're alive.
Exactly.
Yes.
So then we have security coming out of a smoking tunnel, railroad tunnel, and they said someone took out the cradle. So we found out the cradle is actually where all these hosts are made, and that's the underground, pretty much. And security has been sweeping through the park. They've been slowly moving their way through. And we have Bernard with them, of course. So their group is making one way, and the other group is coming from the cradle itself.
Bernard, I have a question here.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, okay. Not to be too complainy, because we know Delos wants to keep a lid on this. That's why they're bringing in their own security. It's a private security force like Blackwater, whatever the hell they have in their version of the world, and they're trying to lay low. We have seen that you can have helicopters and stuff because that's what we saw Mr. The big Delos fly on, fly in on in one of the past. So I'm just kind of wondering where all the
air support is.
And air support is, but
air
maybe
supply?
Yeah, maybe it's hard to get to. So I don't know the answer to that. That's just one of the things I was wondering. That's all. Only complaint. That's it.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
An observation. And maybe they have a very good reason why you can't.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I don't know what that is. So by the way, there's two different Bernards here. We know the Bernard. It's two different timelines, and the way you can tell the Bernards apart is one has glasses and one does not. So the one that we see right now is one without glasses. So he is the one that is in the now, I guess you could say.
Future present is what I'm calling
the future
it,
present.
Future past.
And future past, exactly. So Bernard and Charlotte meet, and she asks him if they found Abernathy. And then that's when Bernard starts having these flashes, and we get to the future past. And Bernard has his glasses again, and we see him and Charlotte still running across the plains out there looking for their underground entrance.
Oh, didn't Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte saw Bernard and she was surprised that he was alive.
Yeah, she was surprised that he was alive, and that's why they asked if they found Abernathy, and that's when he started flashing on their past there, and we find he has a map, and they're looking. They see where Abernathy is at on the map, and that's where we see those symbols that was in Grace's book. We see them actually on his map. And
let me pull those up. I had it ready and now it's not. So damn it.
And of course they're looking for Abernathy, because if they don't get them, then Delos is not going to help anybody on the island at all until they get Abernathy and whatever information he has stuck in his head. There we go.
So we got these symbols here. And is this, at first I thought this was the separation between parks, or is this just exits? And what are the two little?
Well, it's Venn diagram is what it is. It's wherever they cross over. I don't know what that is. So it's two different aspects, and wherever they cross over is what they want. And I think that might have to do with maybe personalities. I don't know.
Interesting. I'm looking at her map, right? I don't know if you could see it or not. Grace's map. And I was looking for park numbers or something like that. But no, it looks like there's elevators, and it looks like she knows some of the access points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Go on.
We'll see. But yeah, it was just kind of a weird like Venn diagram kind of thing. And on Bernard's map, it actually looks more like a symbol, like almost a logo.
Yep.
Just kind of odd. So I'm wondering if it means two things, which most often
probably does. Yes.
Which is really
Reddit will figure it out. They're on the case.
Exactly. So we see that they come across Abernathy, and a group of guests are being held by the brothers at this point. And Charlotte has the idea to kind of yell out for help. And the brothers, of course, go look for them. And one of them finds Charlotte, and she, of course, flips him off as Bernard knocks him out.
Yep.
And they reprogram him, and he goes in and kills all the other brothers and frees the guests.
They make him the quickest, virtuous gun in the West.
Exactly.
So after he was down there tying everybody up, going, we're going to get 10 pieces or 10 bits ahead or whatever. And he walks away and he comes back. He's all, I'll save you.
Yeah.
Nobody should treat a woman like that.
and they're waiting for the Confederados, by the way, too.
Yep.
So that's the one thing that, they don't have much time. And the Confederados, of course, show up. And Abernathy is, kind of going, you know what? I got to go back and help. And, they're saying, we don't have time for this. We need to get him over to the train. And, of course, Abernathy comes out and starts singing Glory, Glory, Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Which is the Union.
Yes. Well, yeah, he could, because we find out later he's kind of glitching out too.
Yeah, he is.
But he has to get to the train. So he got sidetracked. Obviously, they did find him, but he's kind of slippery. That one, but yeah. So our milk loving gunman runs away trying to help one of the guests. He's all, I'll escort you, and she's all, get away from me. And
yeah, because he was going to rape her just earlier. So
yep. And he shot all but one of the Confederados. And
no, there were still a couple of Confederados. There was like
there was a couple who chased off, but the ones who stayed by with him, he shot all but one of them. And yeah, they took off. So and then Charlotte gets separated again from Abernathy because more of them come back in.
Yeah. So Abernathy and Bernard end up getting caught, and Charlotte gets away. She gets shot at, but of course she gets away. And then we cut back over to Dolores meeting Colonel Brigham for the first time over at Forlorn Hope, as he calls it. And she goes, this is what they're going to be fighting with. And she gives him a machine gun. And they still have the security guard tech with them that they have as a hostage. And of course, he's given the option, well, if you make it over that ridge, you can make, you can make your freedom. We'll let you go. And of course, he's not making it to that ridge because he gets gunned down fairly quickly by the machine gun.
Yep.
And this is what Dolores is using to have Colonel Brigham and her forces join forces to fight the security force. That's a lot of forces.
That's a lot of forces and doing some forcey stuff. But yeah, she's working on a plan. She needs more men. She's aware of the security force, and she's trying to, I guess, lure them in. I don't know, like, how good of a plan this is at first, but they still have a lot of nitroglycerin around. It's in some barrels around the fort, and they offer. Dolores offers her all the guns and anything she wants, just as long as she can get out. Handle the security force.
And I'm going to answer this now. Mako says, shouldn't the machine gun look like nothing to the robot? Is it from the outside world? Remember, they're glitching at this point, so they can see everything. They can see the guests, and so that doesn't matter anymore at this point. They see everything that's happening.
Yeah, and that's a good question, Mako, and it's not everyone, because there was that stable hand who didn't recognize anything. So there might be like lower level, hosts who just kind of do basic menial functions who aren't, I don't know. It's everybody's offline at this point. So they're kind of on their own loop, but like before, I honestly don't know if everybody became aware or just Dolores, or if this is just Ford running a game for William. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, William even said, he says now without having any leash, they're playing out their roles completely instead of stopping at an endpoint. So,
well, yeah, they mentioned that. I don't know how much that affects their awareness. Like, are they just really on their role, or I think that's a good question by Mako. But yes, yeah.
So then we run into Maeve and Hector and Lee, and they're running into the Indians who want, who tell them that Hector and Maeve can go, but they want Lee. And Maeve's like, no, we still need him. And so Hector starts firing at them, and nothing happens.
Yeah, well, at first Maeve tries to have control over. This is the Ghost Nation, and she doesn't have any control over him. They want Sizemore. We're assuming to kill him, right?
Yeah.
But she has no power over him. Yeah, and he starts shooting at him, and nothing happens. And I got a theory. And I'm sure it's the same as yours. What we got it, but that has to do with something at the end, so I don't want to get into it right now.
And so they start running away, of course, and they make it to the elevator and get to the underground. And of course, the Ghost Nation looks at that and looks kind of odd. They don't know what to make of it, of course.
No. And then Sizemore was saying this before they ran into the Ghost Nation. He's like, hey, we got to get underground. This is like really bad for us to be up here on top. So that was good. They found an elevator. Very convenient and good.
Well, that's where they were heading towards anyway. Because so Abernathy and Bernard, we cut back to them, and they're brought into Forlorn Hope, and Dolores sees Abernathy, getting the crap beat out of him. She intervenes there, and they take him to the infirmary, and she has Bernard tossed in the brig. And Teddy doesn't remember who Abernathy is. He doesn't remember he's Dolores' father because it's been wiped from his memory. So we know that Teddy is not aware. He's not been awakened. we were talking about this.
No, I don't think. I think very few of them are, to be honest with you. And I'm actually questioning whether Dolores is fully awake either. It seems like she's just running 2 programs. She remembers her father, and she like reverts. It's weird because we see her revert to Dolores for the first time this season. Yeah, she's just got multiple personalities at this point. It's great. I mean, it's very entertaining. It's fucking awesome. But,
and Abernathy has multiple personalities as well. So
that guy's doing such a great job, by the way, of playing this glitching out robot with emotions. It's so insane. Yeah.
And his crazy eyelids, doing the, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very odd. So Abernathy finally kind of snaps out of it, remembers Dolores, and they start talking about the farm. And then all of a sudden he breaks again and starts saying that he needs to get to the train. And she lays him down and tries to console him. So we go back to Hector, and Hector tells Maeve that that Indian knew who you were. He recognized you. She goes, yeah, he killed my daughter and me. So he knows where she's at pretty much, and that's why we need to go and find her. And he says, okay, we're going to go and find your daughter. Don't worry, that's what we're doing. And
at least that's how she's remembering it, because remember last season she remembered it as the Ghost Nation, and then it turned out to be William.
Yeah.
So it might be a loop where that happened in one aspect and then William did it in another. I'm not sure, but or maybe she just chose to remember it as, or got confused. I don't know. She is the one, I'm convinced. I mean, she's fully aware. She's on her own. She's completely off the leash, and with the best idea. She wants her and Hector to go to the new world and be lovers, I guess.
Yeah. And that's when they're holding hands, and Lee goes, whoa, wait a minute, what the hell is this? He goes, you're not supposed to be attracted to her. You're not supposed to be even attached to her. You two are alone. You two are separate. He says to Hector, you're supposed to be in love with Isabella. You're supposed to have undying love for her. And Hector gets pissed off and grabs him and forces him against the wall and says, you know what? I'm not your plaything. And, I'm not programmed that way. He goes, I love whoever I want. And then he starts talking about Isabella again. And of course, as he starts mentioning some line, Lee paraphrases, he says it exactly the same way as Hector does. And Hector looks at him like, son of a bitch, And that's when Maeve, goes, you know what? I know what happened. Who was this Isabella? Was it somebody that you loved? Was it based on someone that you knew? He goes, oh, and she goes, that's so sad. And she goes, you actually made this man to be a better version of yourself.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really good thing. And then she goes, it is ridiculous. And he goes, see, I told you. He goes, no, the holding hand things. She goes, it's really, I don't know why we were holding hands.
Right.
Leave it to Maeve to just kind of turn shit around and just go, you know what? That is a good revelation. That, why am I holding his hand?
It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
Except it's not, but oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do you think, that's why we have Superman and such great storytelling is angst. Teenage angst, or being broken up with, or not being able to date at all. Well, yeah, that's how we got for Superman for sure. So
yeah,
good storytelling from Payne. Thanks, Payne.
So Bernard is brought in to go and see Dolores, and she says, you don't know the man you're based on, do you? And he just says, I know that I'm following my programming the way I was built. So he does know that he's a robot, but he also knows that he's still following his programming. And she brings him over to Abernathy and says, you know what? You need to help him. There's something wrong with him. They've done something to him, and you need to help fix him.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Bernard following his programming, I guess the question is, what programming?
Exactly.
Is it Ford's programming? Is he part of I mean, this still feels like part of Ford's grand plan. Well, it is part of Ford's grand plan.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I think not all of it's working perfectly right now. But I mean, we've seen that through William, but there's another layer that's, I think, involves, I mean, come on, it's totally obvious. The whole Abernathy thing, like trying to prevent that from happening.
I think the whole Abernathy escape is another narrative.
Or do you think Ford knew about it or had no clue?
No, I think he actually
knew
set
they
it
were
up.
trying. Yeah, okay. Well, he knew they were trying to get stuff out of the park via satellite and stuff like that. So,
and he wrote it into a new narrative, because remember at the end of season 1 where he gets killed, killed. I'm going to say in quotation marks there. He was talking about a new narrative that he was putting together, and I think this is the new narrative.
well, I thought the new narrative was just killing the Delos board. Well, maybe that's what it looked like on the surface level. You're right. It might be something like way deeper.
Yeah,
William's game,
it's
trying
his
to stop
game.
Delos, or
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
all
help Delos. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's all tied in. I think Abernathy, this whole Abernathy having, the plans in his head, the whole spy thing of getting him out is part of a new narrative, and that's what this is all about. Yeah, the new narrative, exactly as Christine Ect09 here says, the new narrative is the robot revolt. Exactly.
Yep. Feisty fan says it's BSG on Earth. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this could lead into BSG. You never know. This could be the Cylons. I'm okay.
Again,
It's the replicant Cylons.
Yeah, and again, for those of you joining us, spoilers alert, because we are going to be doing a lot of spoilers. We're at the halfway mark here, 30 minutes in. So I'm just going to say spoiler alert if you guys are watching. So there you go. That's our big high-tech board there.
Yes.
And she also says something interesting. She says she wants to take over the world. Dolores says to Bernard. And Bernard's like, you don't even know anything about the world out there. He goes, this is a speck of dust in a much bigger world. And she goes, have you ever been outside of the park? She goes, no, you haven't. She goes, I have. And yeah, and she basically kind of puts him to shame and says, you don't know what you're talking about. And she goes, just go and fix my dad.
Yep.
Is pretty much what it comes down to.
But how much has she seen? I mean, really?
She hasn't seen
went
much.
to an office party and went to see Bernard's house. I mean, maybe she's seen more. Well, I'm assuming she has.
Yeah. It's the blind leading the blind, pretty much.
And we also got left on that big cliffhanger from last week, which I mean, for bury the lead. They don't know last week, that cliffhanger of like the weapon, right? And
that's right,
yeah, they don't get to it at all this episode. And that's how good the episode was. Like they didn't even get to the cliffhanger, which would normally kind of piss me off. And I don't even care. I was so entertained. I don't care. We'll see.
And then we have Maeve, Hector, and Lee. They're in the hallway when they start hearing gunfire, and we see this guy in flames running down the hallway. It's one of the security guards. And who do they bump into but Armistice?
Armistice,
who has a new arm. She's rearmed,
and she has a dragon
flamethrower. Yes,
which is a funny line.
Yeah, exactly. And she has Felix and the other tech. I never remember his name. The other tech, the redhead guy, the sleazy one.
Isn't it like Sylvester or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
It was some cartoon name. I can't remember.
Yeah, and she has them as held hostage. And Sylvester, she's got a grenade underneath his chin. And he's trying to grenade. So which they disarm, of course. And we got that group back together again. And it was kind of funny because Maeve's like, oh, I didn't expect to see you again. So she's talking to Felix. So I might have some use for you. And they end up going into the elevator and heading back up. But we don't know where exactly. So Bernard, at this point, has Abernathy. He's plugged into Abernathy, and he sees all these different routines that Abernathy's running. And he tells Dolores that he's bouncing between all these different roles, but it's masking a huge file. There's one small little script that's in there that's masking a really huge file, and he can't get to it because of all the encryption that's going on. And I found it interesting that Dolores knew what what encryption was.
Oh yeah, yes, I found that interesting too. And yeah, and Bernard freaking hacks it. Like he gets in. It takes a while. There's the whole battle going on, but he gets in. Like, and he sees it. And then the biggest tease of all, we get a, oh my God, and then that's it.
It says a one-time use key, which basically means you use it once and it's gone.
Yep.
And that was the big, oh my God, I think was like, oh shit, if I do it, do I do this now or do I leave it as is? In the meantime, Charlotte ends up running into security and they're almost shoot her. And she goes, no, I'm human. And they scan the back of her neck, which I found interesting. They can find out if you're human or not by scanning the back of your neck.
Yes.
So She
Good
says,
to know in the future, by the way.
yeah, exactly. That's going to be something I think that's going to be key in the future here.
Yes.
Or was that the past?
The future past.
The future past. And Charlotte ends up finding security. She goes, "Oh, is this is this team ready to go?" And she's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, well, get me one of your one of your bulletproof jackets there, and I'm taking this team with me." And they're entering Sector 21. That's what we see.
Yep, and that's where the Confederados are, and
exactly.
we get our big battle at the end. With the security forces did not come in mass, by the way. They had like 3 vehicles. There was about 20 of them, and they probably figured it'd probably be pretty easy work. The guns are pretty badass, and
they were doing a good job. I mean, they were getting in there, and we see that Bernard. Well, sorry, going back to that, Brigham's men and Dolores' men are fighting, and they basically said that they buried some nitro outside. What they're going to do is they're going to wait till the security guard gets close enough, so the security detail gets close enough. Then they're going to bring everybody back inside, and they're going to set off the nitro. And of course, Brigham doesn't want to fight dirty, but he's convinced that that's what they need to do in order to win.
Yep.
And of course, we see Dolores's people get pulled in a little bit earlier than usual because there's a flag that comes down off gets pulled in on the fort there, and her people come in while Brigham's men still stay outside and keep fighting. And they're doing a good job, but the security detail is just ripping them apart. And finally, the gates are closed outside. Brigham's men, see that they have to retreat, and when they retreat, they come back to a locked gate.
Yep. Then they're just fodder at this point.
Just fodder.
And then we got Charlotte coming around the back end, coming around the flank, and she's got her little team, and they're gonna go in and grab Abernathy, which they do pretty easily. They got 2 guys going in the back. They grab him, but Dolores notices. She does notice. But when they go in and grab Abernathy, we don't know how much Bernard is still connected to him. Right, he's still got the link to him with his little iPad, and he whips it out real quick and then hides as the 2 security guard come in to go. But we don't, so at this point we don't know if he downloaded it, used the decryption key, or just like let it be. I'm assuming he looked at it or something.
I think he looked at it, but I think he just left it as it was. This is a one-time, like I said, one-time use. And I just want to say, Kitty Whiskers 15 said the next scan is for the explosive device hosts have in their spines. Okay, didn't know that. That's actually good.
Was there a failsafe?
I don't remember
something like that. Now I can't totally remember. So
yeah. So, but then again, I
can't for it. We
Yeah.
trust you.
I'm watching so many shows right now that sounds good enough.
Oh, dude, but just between Legion and Westworld, I'm not sure what is real anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like that's somebody who's taking a lot of acid in this time. So long time ago, folks. Long time ago.
So Dolores tells Teddy to put down what's left of the Confederados. And this is after they've blown up the nitro and taken out the security detail.
Did they though? I mean, did they? I guess they did because they didn't really show anybody. So, but they're locked in their fort too. But
yeah.
So they must have. They must have.
Yeah. Because when she went outside and was shooting at the security detail that took Abernathy, Charlotte and her men.
And Charlotte just left a couple of dudes. I guess that security, they leave men behind.
Yep.
Yep.
And she tells Teddy to put down what's left of the Confederados. And Teddy has them out back there, and he's about to kill them, and he spares them. He's like, just go. Just take off.
You see Teddy questioning this the whole time. The whole episode, he's got that James Marsden look on his face. Kind of like the same look he had as Cyclops every time like Wolverine was around.
Yeah.
Jean Grey. And and he's questioned Teddy, but that means Teddy's starting to finally try out making his own decisions. That's and Dolores is watching him as he lets them go and doesn't really do anything, which was interesting.
Yeah, he kind of mimics what she had said earlier, that Dolores had called them all children.
Yep.
And Teddy even says, you're all just children. And I'm like, okay, so is Teddy having an awakening? Is he just mimicking what he's seen?
No, I think the mimicking is part of the awakening.
Okay.
Yeah, because like, okay, I can do this thing on my own now. I don't know, so I'm gonna use what I've seen before, but I'm gonna give this a try. So yeah, I think that's part of the awakening for sure.
And so then we cut over to Grace, who we hadn't seen since the very beginning when the tiger had jumped her, crawling out of the water, and she's kind of sputtering and everything onto the shore, right into the arms of the Ghost Nation.
Yep.
So we don't know where that's going to lead to. And by the way, we were talking about this in our very long pre-production meeting. I'm pretty sure that Grace is William's daughter.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking that's
two daughters.
That's William's, maybe. I pretty sure, but and also I think the Ghost Nation. No real information on this is they're kind of they seem to be on their own in the park anyway, and yes, they are part of narratives, but I think that they're kind of either park security or
they're part of the drones. They're kind of like
they're kind of a fail safe. That's why Stubbs is still alive, because he got tackled by one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not 100% sure, but I think that's what I think they are. I think they are fail safe in park security to help if something like this happens. Because of course they knew something like this was going to happen or could happen anyway.
Yeah, because it's happened before.
Yes, it happened. Right, and where did we hear that again? Battlestar. What has happened before? What happened again? Yes, we have. Yes. Oh, did we hit it, Mako? Oh my God. Let me see. I'm gonna go check.
Nice.
Not that I don't believe you, Mako, because I do. We trust everybody here, but I just want to see it for myself. And yeah, we did. Oh,
nice.
Live on the air. We hit 2,001 subscribers. Thank you, everybody. You're wonderful. Thanks for joining up. Wow, that is freaking cool. Now I gotta cut another video in front of YouTube. So yes. So happy. Thank you, Mako. Yes, there's 72 watching. Let's keep them watching. Let's talk about Westworld.
Let's get to the end here.
I'm gonna break my arm, pat myself in the back here. Let's go.
So we have Maeve and the group are walking through falling snow.
Yes.
And Lee says, "Oh, I think we're in the north part of the park in the Klondike narrative." And they come across a campfire and are like, oh, hold on just a second. Let's take this slowly. And they come up and Lee starts digging through the snow there, and he finds a Shogun helmet, a Japanese Shogun helmet attached to a head.
To a head, yeah. There's a head in it.
And he comes running back and he goes, "We got to get away now. We got to leave. We got to leave now." And just he's saying that, the samurai comes running out of the woods, screaming, running straight towards Maeve. And that's when we cut to black.
Yep. Okay. And I don't know if I'm the only one who heard it. All right. So I could be. I hear a lot of things that it's only me. But didn't that ending music sound a little bit like a mix of some Japanese, I don't know, whatever, a woodwind instrument and the good, bad, and the ugly theme? Kind of sound like the good, bad, and the ugly theme to me a little bit in the end there, which would have been really cool.
I didn't hear it, but then again, I wasn't listening to that music for some reason. I was really into the story at that point. Feisty Fan says yes. That's what she heard. Did
you get the yes? Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's get to the chat.
Yes.
We're our fully interactive recap here. And let's get to the fine folks.
Yeah. Johnny Papa says, "Laugh out loud with Lee and the donkey in his outfit."
I don't. Yeah. Tom Sawyer Sizemore.
Stable boy.
Stable boy. Yeah.
He basically got reduced to stable boy is what he got reduced to.
I love how he's just kind of rolling with it though. It's part of his like super sociopathic narcissistic personality that he's still he's still prideful about his narrative the whole time. And yeah, it's hilarious. He is too good to kill. You cannot kill Sizemore. One of my faves.
M4 Arcel 2099 says, "I really appreciated your guys' take on Mr. Robot, and I knew you guys would be my go-to for Westworld. Cheers." Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad you joined us. If you haven't seen we did the entire first season as well. So go back and take a look in our catalog there. And we've gone through, we went down the rabbit hole on that too. So
yeah, that's a really early stuff. So temper your expectations a little bit. Because this is such high quality right now.
Yeah. Oh no. By the way, I almost forgot to mention that Bernard was trying to run away there and end up getting captured because his as Viking Bitch says, Bernard is low on coconut brain water and has the shakes.
Yeah,
and can't coordinate, so he kept falling down. And what's her name again? I can't remember. The girl that was in Maeve's
Clementine.
Clementine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Clementine finds him, and of course she's kind of mute now. She's not really saying much.
Well, she got lobotomized.
Yeah, she basically finds him and knocks him out with the butt of her rifle, and then she starts dragging him away. She's dragging a lot of guys across the ground lately. So,
yes, well, I think that's all she can do, unfortunately. So sad. He looks very dead.
She does look very dead.
So happy to have Armistice back.
Yeah, Armistice was badass, man. I mean, especially with the new hand. You know, you just see that little hand like
that makes it even better in a way. Yeah, I'm
the Terminator hand.
Yeah, I know.
You really do.
I do. Get an eye patch that would just make it. I like pirate women. Okay, it's the thing. All right, don't judge me.
Sorry, they're talking a lot about vacation here, so I'm kind of scrolling through really quickly. A bad Wobot says, "Oh my god, I absolutely love the bad guy with the top hat turned good." So that's hilarious.
That was so freaking great.
Yeah,
and he's still alive, so like. He's going to be running around a park. And I'm like, for one, it's good for bringing some levity to a pretty dark show, you know? And it was, so he's going to be popping in once in a while going, I'll save you, and scaring the hell out of what, humans are left there.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because he actually played a big role on Walking Dead. And for those of you who are watching, spoilers, he doesn't make it. So that's why he's back again on here too. So I kind of like that he's back. Mako says, wouldn't be surprised if this leads into BSG, but Earth seems to be too low tech for that kind of show.
Yep. And we also really, I want them to get into at some point, when last episode, when Logan was shown all the hosts in that room, and he went from being like amazed to scared, like really, really scared. And like, he's all, we're not here yet. I want an explanation for that. Like, how did we get here? Because I mean, their future, it looks legitimately like 50 years in the future, which is, we wouldn't be there at not even close. No. So I don't know how you answer that, other than like Ford is just really brilliant, and so was Arnold. Or actually, Arnold's the one who Ford gleamed off of Arnold. Ford was not as brilliant as Arnold.
Ford was first. Ford wrote the narratives. Arnold was the one who came up with the tech.
Yeah, but Ford learned as time went on. And,
Oh yeah.
Well, he was Edison for sure. There was Arnold was Tesla and Ford was Edison.
Yeah. And well, remember, Logan even says, we're not this far along yet. There's no way we can be.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's the whole point. Is like, I really want to see like what he was talking about there.
Yeah,
because it was such a well delivered line. I think it was like one of the most ominous parts of the whole damn series was when that is a great scene and that whole revelation. So,
Movie Fanobi says, Dolores saw very little, then glitched her responses unless we get more flashbacks about her knowing about the real world. Yeah.
And we will. That's how they're going to play with time here. And also with, it just popped in my mind with Grace showing up. We actually, I think we talked about it in a podcast, not in our actual recap, that when they introduced little Emily last. We were like, oh, well, she's going to show up later, but it wasn't her. It was Grace. Not sure about that, but yeah.
And Movie Fanobi also says, and fake Bernard has no memory of the outside, though if modeled after the real, he should have some memory of it. Maybe it's the low brain lube.
I think it's the low brain lube, but I think there might be more. It's Bernardold. I just call him Bernardold at this point, and I think everybody else does too. So there might be some actual Arnold in there, I think.
Again, it could be, like our theory, downloading people into these host bodies.
Yeah, I think you know, I mean, we could go to some obvious places like what's Delos's whole plan. I'm sure that'll super soldiers, spying. I don't think it's just all data mining from people's genitals. So I mean that's a very clever way to do that, but and very thinking out of the box right there. But I think it's more of immortality. That's something you could really sell. And
Yeah.
feisty.
Oh, wow, thank you, Feisty.
Thank you.
Again, because Dolores even mentions it to Bernard, she says about how we're how they're immortal and why they need to fight.
Feisty says, do you think that Gary's outfit is the winner this episode? Because I do. Congrats on 2000. Why, thank you. I put time into my wardrobe. I do. Yes, and the hat. Thank you, Feisty. We're all winners. No, we're not going to do that stuff. There's some losers out there. There are. It's good to lose once in a while. I've lost many times. Builds character. Next question, Dennis.
Movie Shinobi says, well, most seem to know Bernard is fake. He was on the Topps Android trading cards. Topps Android.
Yes, he was. Was he like in the boot? What was he? What's the one card per wax box? So
yeah,
a rare card.
Daniel Lightford says the explosive is why Maeve had to burn her body in season 1.
That's right. That is right. So it is in there, and well, everybody's offline, so they can't use them. That kind of says it right there.
Yeah.
There must be some device though, right, where you just go beep. You know, if you get close enough. And you know, we got a lot of reunions too. We got to see Felix and Sylvester is his name, by the way, Felix and Sylvester, and we got Armistice. But we haven't seen what's her name? The little tech girl who Bernard killed.
Yeah, now I can't remember her name. Starts with an E. Emily? No. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I thought she was supposed to come back this season. Maybe it's later. I can't.
It's probably later. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's later, then I mean, I don't think she's coming back. I don't know, man. Maybe she's in a flashback or something like that. Although it's only been a couple weeks, right, since the end of season 1. Pretty much, we're in a 2-week period here.
Pretty much, yeah. And I love how they mentioned the techs. If they're named Felix and Sylvester, they're named after the cartoon cats.
Yes, they are.
So that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Comet Light says, has anyone mentioned back to episode 1 or back to the first episode, Rebus trying to prevent a woman executive after Bernard programming him? Huh? Have anyone mentioned back to first episode Rebus trying to prevent a woman exec after Bernard reprogramming him? I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. Steve Cancel. Didn't the girl in the beginning remind anyone of Teresa, the one Bernard was sleeping with in season 1?
Grace. Whoa. Yeah, kind of, because she smoked. She gave off, a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, oh wow. Do you think they're mind fucking us on this one, and this is a past narrative? No,
it could be. No,
because she would have mentioned that. Yeah, but I think there's a vibe there because it was a woman smoking. That's all.
Yeah, we saw the Bengal tiger mentioned.
Yeah, she didn't have an accent. She had an American accent. And,
we saw the Bengal tiger wash up on the shore. Remember when with security guards in the first episode? So, yeah,
but that could have been there for years. You never. I mean, like, you know, it would have taken. It would have been more decayed though. It would have been gone completely. So no, but I got the vibe. Definitely, I'm with you there. That was very much a Treese vibe there.
Sorry, there we go. Steve Cancel again. I can't wait to see a new young William host fall in love with Dolores again, but then she'll have no interest in him and break his heart all over again.
Yeah, and maybe that's what he really goes nuts. By the way, it's Rebus is our milk drinking top hatted friend.
Rebus, there we go.
Yes. So Rebus being reprogrammed. What was he? The question you weren't understanding was that referring to the woman executive that he was in the first episode when he's shooting the was put the alcohol in her head, and I guess she died though. That woman got killed.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, and by the way, Elsie was the name.
Elsie, thank you. That's what I was
Steve Cancel, and also Raymond Ferrata.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I could have sworn Dennis said he saw Elsie in the trailer. I did not, but
Logan McLeod says we saw Elsie floating in the water first episode this season. Did we?
At the end? Interesting. I'll have to go back and look. I missed that completely.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought we saw Teddy.
I know we saw Teddy. Yeah. Viking bitches. We also saw Teddy in the water. Does Dolores kill him because she is disappointed in his goodness?
Well, not everybody deserves to make it.
Yep. As she says. So I'm down at the end of our chat here.
All right. We can wrap things up. I think that's a nice little tight bow on such a high note with 83 viewers. Wow.
Nice.
Plug in some wares real quick. We do this every Sunday after Westworld between 8:15 and 8:30. So I have 8:15. If you want to look at our schedule, we do cover a lot of other shows. Go to nerdrotic.com, and on the right-hand side, you'll see our schedule of recaps. Currently, we are doing Expanse, Legion, Westworld, Krypton, maybe. I'm kind of I don't know. And we also Friday night we do an open podcast where it's just us and you guys in the chat just talking about the latest news. And basically we cover like maybe a new TV show or the shows we cover and latest movie news, all the nerd stuff. Dennis has his Twitter. It's at DeForce DAFORCE. Mine is at Nerdrotics. We want to thank. We have a bunch of wonderful patrons that I'm just gonna thank verbally right now. Dennis, thank a few people in the chat while I look at that.
I also want to mention Matt S. actually brought something else up that triggered something on me. He said Bernard says
triggered.
No, not that way, not in a bad way, in a good way. He said Bernard says he killed them all, and I started having a flashback like Bernard. My eyes started twitching there, and I'm like, okay, so if you have the one-time use only key in Abernathy, maybe that triggered something in the hosts to awaken all the hosts. Maybe that's what that all was about. And that's part of the programming is by they have to die in order to be reborn, kind of like what Dolores happened with Dolores. So maybe Bernard had triggered them. And
so they're being baptized in some weird way.
Yeah, they're being rebooted.
What's going on there? All right.
And then that's why Bernard without the glasses is actually rebooting and he's becoming aware. That's why he's so confused.
Well, yeah, we mentioned that last episode.
Yeah,
that like he's starting to figure things out. He's running through his program, but he's also glitching out because he is becoming aware. That's why. Well, yeah, because that's why he's getting memories. He's having his own revelries. You know, he's starting to remember stuff, and once he gets to his feeling the pain of a loss of a child, I think that's when he wakes up.
Yeah,
completely.
And to answer your question, who was it here? Steve Cancel. Are you covering Handmaid's Tale at all? No, we're not.
Nope.
Sorry.
Unfortunately not. That is a scheduling thing. If we could watch it and cover it on our Friday podcast for sure though. I just don't know if that show is my wife loves it. We've only got so much time. There's only so much time I wish we could cover, but we don't have time. But
we both work full-time jobs and trying to watch everything at the same time. And it's a little bit much. So
yep. Gotta work.
Yeah, we are going to be covering Cobra Kai at some point too, Raymond, just so you know.
Yes, we are going to finish up Cobra Kai. And Anna, I don't know if we're going to cover Anna, and I tried to get through it on Netflix. It was kind of slow for me. So
thanks, Johnny Pappas. $1.99 says Orthodox Geek and Super Chatter. I
found him a fundamentalist for sure. I don't know about Orthodox, but fundamentalist. And that's okay to be a fundamentalist geek. That's okay. Okay, let's thank our wonderful. We've got some new patrons here. So we've got Dakota Stanton, Penn Farm Girl, Apple Crow, Christianette Echo 9, Shakuri Lama, Eric, Richard Seth Jones, Viking Bitch, Luke Lucas. Wow, what is this? Mech Heist. Okay, Mech Heist. Ed Brewer, Logan McLeod, Feisty Fan, Lawrence Howe, Isaiah Norton, Fan on Ruff, Tiger Maskin RH, Rubicon Alpha, Johnny Pappas, JD Gallo, which is Jody, Brian Smart, Steve D, and Arturo Espinoza. We now have 23 patrons. So thank you, man.
Wow,
we have
thank
a lot
you.
of people. With our Patreon, you get stuff. So there's $1 tier. There's a which you don't actually get anything, but you get a thank you from us, and you get to suggest videos. There's $5 tiers where you get some. I used to own a comic book store. There was exclusive comic books to my comic store. You get all 3 of those. They're actually pretty rare, and you could flip them on eBay if you want to make a few bucks. And our $15 tier is basically a loot crate box where you get to see all this wonderful stuff behind me. You get some of that stuff and some comic books, and also a Nerdrotic shirt when I finally get around to making them. So there. That's our Patreon.
All right. So I want to thank Jody, Movie Fanobi, Viking Bitch, Mako, Feisty Fan, Johnny Pappas, excuse me, Apple Crow, Steve Cancel, DJ Bowman, Matt S, Pen Farm Girl. I know there's quite a few others that are in here. Raymond Verada and Logan McLeod. I'm scrolling through here. Sorry, Daniel Lightford, Mako, Kristonite Ek09, a Bad Wobot.
That's a patron, by the way. That's
yes.
the one I think it's Christianette. Okay. Is it Christianette? Oh, yeah, maybe she can help us with that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I was having a little problem with that. Sometimes we have problems.
No,
with
I have, yeah, because we're I don't
know. Ryan
California
Rector,
public school system, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Comet Light.
And yeah, thanks to our patrons.
Oh, yeah, the patron. Oh, and Kevin Duyan. Sorry, he just passed.
Thanks for the super chat too. It's okay. We don't have to get absolutely everybody. We're sorry we can't get you, but there was a lot of you in there tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there tonight. If I missed you, thank you.
Thank you if we missed you. For the super chats, Feisty Fan for $4.99 and Johnny Pappas for $1.99, being a good Orthodox geek. And Feisty Fan, I like getting paid and complimented. Feisty Fan, that's a bit much, but I like it. Don't stop.
And how's your father, who's been listening this whole time?
How's your father? How's your father? I've always wanted to ask that. So yes, you've heard the plugs, and our next show will be tomorrow morning for the Nerdrotic Nooner. I will be talking about many things, but the main point of my thesis will be Marvel is greater than Star Wars and always has been, and that's okay. That's what it's going to be about. It's yeah. So, am I kind of poking at Star Wars fans? No, actually, I'm not. You gotta listen, comment and listen. There's a point to make. Basically, for those of you who don't want to, Marvel's always been better. So, yeah, yeah, that's kind of a thing. But poor Star Wars never had a chance, and I'm going to explain why. And yeah, yay! Saw Infinity War again too. It's fucking great, and Cobra Kai is fun. So we're gonna cover that too. All right, Dennis.
Sorry, Johnny Papa says, "Hey guys, Jamie said call him and you can go there and podcast." I actually ran into Jamie on Free Comic Book Day, so and. I know he has it open for us whenever we want to come in and podcast. So
nice. All right, Dennis. Thank the nice people, and hi nice Jody, people. And take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might end up wrestling with a robotic tiger that pushes you over a cliff, and you'll wake up on the beach and get taken by the Ghost Nation.
And worst of all, you lost your pack of cigarettes, man.
Yeah, you did.
It's going to be hard to find smokes in Westworld now. Thank you for 2,000 subscribers, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Hell yeah. I'm so excited. So, yeah, see y'all Monday. May the small folk sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers.